We have some new Space Marine detachments released as part of the 500 Worlds campaign. Space Marines and Necrons get updates. Though there is reason to believe that the 40k app is not adapting to the new rules very well. Like the Necron Destroyer Nemesaur has gained a 5+ Feel No Pain on the app, different to the PDF publication of their rules. With more detachments for the Adeptus Astartes, and from totally legit insider knowledge, the campaign was originally meant to be called 500 Detachments, because that's how many detachments the Space Marines will have before the end of the edition. When I play with the Deathwatch, I often use the Gladius Task Force. The Black Spear Task Force is nice and good, but when I play a whole other faction whose big thing is deep striking and leaving and returning, I don't need that, but with Space Marines. Gladius has easy to use stratagems, and I like the flexibility of the Gladius Task Force. I can have army-wide fall back and shoot and charge when I need it. That makes a brilliant counter to charge-happy armies like Orcs and World Eaters. I can advance and shoot with all of the guns, and I can advance and charge to get into combat. There's nothing worse feeling than a failed charge. So what if we had all of these at once, and that was the detachment rule? Welcome to the Bastion Task Force. Adeptus Astartes Battleline units are eligible to shoot and declare a charge if they fell back or advanced, and they're also eligible to start to perform an action in a turn in which they advanced or fell back. Being able to advance and shoot and charge and fall back and shoot and charge is perfect for Deathwatch veterans and the Decimus Kill team. These units can always advance and shoot and advance and charge. No Watchmaster needed, and that saves us so many points. At the very least, if you still want the ability to reduce the command points of stratagems by 1, a Watchmaster is 95 points, but a Space Marine Captain is 80 points. Other Battleline units are useful. Assault Intercessors and Intercessors with bolt rifles, sure, they benefit. But they don't have the damage output like the Deathwatch Battleline kill teams do. That's why I'm so interested in this detachment. The enemy's like 18 inches away? Maybe we can make that with an advance and charge. And we can shoot them or some other unit on the way. The second part of the detachment rule is more useful for the Intercessors. Advance and complete actions, fall back and complete actions. You can't advance and shoot and complete actions. The first part lets you advance and shoot, the second part lets you advance and complete actions. Not both. Enemies trying to tie up our units is not an option if they want to prevent scoring. In 1000 point games, in the 2025-2026 mission deck, Battleline units can advance and shoot or complete an action. Now, we can have a rule a lot like that in bigger games. If you're not playing the Deathwatch, what is the perfect Battleline unit? Black Templar Crusader squads? Yeah, sure, they could do with a more usable detachment for their core units, but really, tactical squads. Space Marine tactical squads. Oh, where are they? I thought you said this was competitive, so no legends. Aha. Space Marine tactical squads are not legends. Never have been legends, and if rumors of 11th edition are true, never will be legends. They are right there on page 157 of the Space Marine Codex you totally definitely own. Tactical squads. I like them, and this detachment lets them shine. It's 140 points for 2 units of 5 that can always act like they're in the tactical doctrine of the Gladius Task Force, appropriate, but also all parts of the Gladius Task Force. Advance and shoot, fall back and shoot, and charge. Advance and charge if you really want to. But without needing to add a transport as so many other factions do, like Venoms or Immolators. Tactical squads have the combat squad rule that all the others copy in name, at least that's what people competitively call it, combat squadding a unit. So you have 2 squads of 5 that can harass the enemy with their 1 special weapon, 1 heavy weapon, and some normal bolt guns. The, third part of the detachment rule is that each time an Adeptus Astartes Battleline unit from your army is selected to attack, that's melee or shooting. After resolving those attacks, pick 1 enemy unit hit by 1 or more of those attacks, and until the end of the turn, that enemy unit is Auspex scanned. Whenever any other Adeptus Astartes model from your army makes an attack and targets an Auspex scanned unit, they get to reroll hit rolls of 1. Tap 1 massive tank with a bolter shot, and the Dreadnought about to charge it rerolls hit rolls of 1 for their shooting and in combat. There are stratagems that really benefit from just a casual tactical squad. 5 bolters shoot and that enemy unit is -1 to their hit rolls in this turn and their next turn. Shock bombardment suppresses an enemy until the start of our next turn. Hit that orc horde with a las cannon shot. They're gonna be -2 to move and -2 to their charge. That is the power that can be handed out with tactical squads. Tactical squads are great, this is the correct opinion. Moving back to the Deathwatch, thinking of this part of the detachment rule, kill teams can give the reroll that they don't need. We can carry on with our lives. Okay, we fired some guns from our Deathwatch kill team. We're not going to charge them, we're going to shoot something else. But from a drive-by Infernus heavy bolter flaming of 1 unit, every other unit in our army that attacks that flamed unit can reroll their hit rolls of 1. These 2 kill teams, the Veteran Kill team and the Decimus Kill team, already get the full rerolls to hit, or if we're not fighting aliens, reroll hit rolls of 1. We have established that all the parts of the Gladius Task Force at once for our Battleline kill teams is great. But what about the other kill teams? The Indomitor kill team is a staple. It's usually teleported around in the Black Spear Task Force, but it lacks speed unless it could advance and shoot and charge. With the hero of the chapter enhancement on a captain in Gravis armor, that is now a Battleline unit. 1 model in the unit has the Battleline keyword, so the whole unit can share the Battleline keyword. The detachment rule triggers on units, not just keyword models. So that Indomitor kill team is now Battleline. It gets all the detachment bonuses, advance and charge, advance and shoot. It can Auspex scan enemy units, or continue to benefit from attacking enemy units that have been Auspex scanned. We could use the Heresy Undone stratagem to get similar benefits. As long as you're shooting or charging an Auspex scanned unit, and though it only lasts for a phase, so you have to choose between advance and shoot, or advance and charge, or fall back and shoot, or fall back and charge, we get the one we need in the moment. Fall back and charge is a great way to get fight first and sort of do double damage. The enemy charged you and attacks, you fought back in their fight phase. In our turn, we fall back and charge and fight again before the enemy gets to swing, because when you charge, you get fight first. So that was they attack, we attack, we attack, and if they're left alive, they can fight back. I had considered briefly putting the hero of the chapter enhancement on incursors, then their battle line, then they can advance and shoot or advance and complete an action. If they shoot an enemy, then whatever other units from our army shoot the same target, they would get +1 to hit and reroll hit rolls of 1. But that feels like a waste. You have to add a character and enhancement to the unit, which makes it too expensive as a small support unit. It was a nice idea. Blades of Valor is an enhancement, maybe probably for assault intercessors to have better chainswords, or you can make Deathwatch Veterans power swords and thunder hammers AP -3. As long as the enemy doesn't have an invulnerable save, they get squished. I like the Eye of the Primarch enhancement. That is reliable precision. Not only, oh, it happens on a 6 like in the Black Spear Task Force. This is shooting only, so use the big guns of the frag cannons and Infernus heavy bolters to kill characters before getting into combat with the now leaderless foe. You could use it a bit better on a Decimus Kill team. You don't need to bother with the sniper rifles, though I like the sniper rifles. Have plasma incinerators, and between the range of weapons and decent shooting you've got in that unit, you can kill enemy characters before you get there. I think precision is underrated. A lot of our abilities rely on characters in the unit and enhancements. They stop working if the character that's leading the unit that had the enhancement is dead. Bombast Omnivox I am least impressed with. Maybe get a command point back if you use a stratagem on this unit in particular. We have access to captains, our stratagems can be 1 command point cheaper. If I have the point spare and importantly have a character without an enhancement that might use a stratagem, I will use it. I've already mentioned some of the stratagems. Heresy Undone is a maybe if you need it, it's kind of nice. Guided Disruption is there to disrupt enemies to make them slower. If you can stop an enemy charging you because they're -2 to their move and -2 to their charge, it's so worth 1 command point. Because if an enemy fails their charge, they're not in the position they wanted to be, all of their attacks basically missed. You survived the enemy combat phase. You can continue doing your thing in your coming turn. Your thing being scoring victory points and killing enemies. I like that shock bombardment can be done in our shooting phase for the coming fight phase and the enemy shooting phase and the enemy fight phase. Some enemy units are just massive and will not care about a couple of bolter shots, but being -1 to hit if they normally hit on a 4+, things like really big tanks, hordes of hormigants, they've gone from having a decent chance to do normal damage to not having as good a chance. If we can keep our troops alive, we can keep scoring and keep killing the enemy. Space Marines should never be used in a war of attrition. Angel's Defiant is another defensive stratagem. We don't have Armor of Contempt in this detachment, instead we have Angel's Defiant. It can only be used on Battleline units, but until the end of the phase, rather than the limits of Armor of Contempt, which can only last against one enemy unit. But if the strength of the attack is greater than our toughness, and a lot of things are, subtract 1 from the wound roll. Strength 5 feels strangely common these days. We can knock them down to wounding us on a 4+. And if there was an attack that has high strength, but low armor penetration, as some monsters have, as like termagants with flesh borers have, this is going to work better than Armor of Contempt. Codex Discipline I'm not too interested in. It's only going to be worth doing if you can get both parts, reroll hit rolls of 1 and reroll wound rolls of 1, but you're going to have to use it on a unit that's big, has lots of attacks, lots of important attacks, and has a good chance of hitting wounding already. Maybe an Indomitable Kill team will benefit best from this. If we can hit the enemy's big tanks or monsters with something else, something Battleline, like one of our kill teams or some intercessors, then we can follow up with this and it'll do a bit more damage. But if we want to do a bit more damage, I think Light of Vengeance is a better stratagem. With their frailties exposed by the harsh glare of Auspex analysis, the foe are easy prey for the Space Marine apostrophe plus Vengeful Onslaught. Background text to be proud of. As long as you're attacking an enemy unit that's been Auspex scanned, or you are a Battleline unit, you can have lethal hits or sustained hits. When I'm playing in the Black Spear Task Force, unless I'm fighting big knights, or a full army of tanks, the sustained hits tactic is the most important tactic. The others feel kind of weaker, and when we have a lot more lethal hits in like the Fortis Kill team and the Decimus Kill team, just on all the weapons, all of the time, we don't need the lethal hits as much. Being able to say, whenever I need it, yeah, this Deathwatch Kill team has sustained hits. That I like. Putting this together into an army list, well, unfortunately the Deathwatch can't take tactical squads, that would be too overpowered. But we can take intercessor squads, we could even proxy tactical marines as intercessors, so that will have to do. A squad of them to provide the Auspex scan and use their sticky objectives, and of course they can fire an obscene number of bolter shots. Okay, here's the army list concept in full. It's 2 watch companies working together, so it's lore accurate. Depending on how you want to put them together, that's like 8 kill teams plus 2 captains. It works. As there are 2 captains, only one can use the Rites of Battle ability, but the Gravis captain is the best choice to give the Indomitable Kill team the Battleline keyword through the Hero of the Chapter enhancement. The only other option is the Apothecary Biologus for a similar number of points, and as many of the Indomitable weapons already have lethal hits, the captain is a better choice for any kind of benefit. Honestly, one of the biggest problems playing Deathwatch is remembering which assortment of assault, heavy, lethal, sustained, and precision each of your weapons have. You look like a new player because you have to check the unit entry every time. The standard captain has the Eye of the Primarch, so the unit he is leading has precision on all of their ranged weapons. As such, this Decimus Kill team can have 2 shields, because save the hammers for the Deathwatch veterans. And don't miss out on good damage to power swords with sustained hits. As we have precision, we don't need the snipers, so have plasma incinerators, and as this is more about shooting compared to the Deathwatch Veterans combat, we don't need knifemen, have the Phobos models that don't have the Phobos keyword, with bolters. While I am tempted by the damage 3 Infernus Heavy Bolter, the frag cannons have better strength, and with Advance and Shoot we can get close enough to rapid fire. There are plenty of guns there to eliminate enemy characters before the unit charges in. Along with the intercessors, there are 2 squads of Decimus Kill teams, just 5 models, there to provide the Auspex scanning detachment rule. They have better shooting than the Deathwatch veterans, and if we're going to be doing some shooting, we may as well have decent shooting. The big guns the unit has are better than the Deathwatch veterans for no particular reason, and the Marines with the Thunderhammer or Shield also have lethal hit bolt pistols, which the Deathwatch veterans do not have. As the Decimus Kill teams have better shooting and combat than intercessors, I prefer them over more intercessors. If we wanted units that are just going to sit on an objective and occasionally do this Auspex scan, or advance and complete actions, you could have the slower, heavy intercessors. But I prefer the Deathwatch theme. We don't need to have the Deathwatch keyword, but it's nice. To lead our first advancing and charging super smashy Deathwatch Veteran Kill team, there's a chaplain with the Blades of Valor. So this Deathwatch squad has +1 to wound and +1 armor penetration. Yeah, that's gonna do a lot of damage. And there's a second Deathwatch Veteran Kill team, and these are also tooled up for combat. Lots of shields, 4 giant hammers, and a heavy weapon of your choice, either the Infernus Heavy Bolter or the Frag Cannon. So far, all of the units in this army are Battleline. All of them able to advance and shoot, advance and charge, fall back and shoot, fall back and charge. I want a big squad of Stern Guard, because when the Deathwatch Battleline units already have full rerolls to hit, or at least reroll hit rolls of 1 all the time, just as their unit rule, they don't need to use Oath of Moment. So whatever enemy unit the Stern Guard are going to be facing, that's the unit we make the Oath of Moment. Then the Stern Guard have full reroll to hit and full reroll to wound on their devastating wound weapons. I have a Lieutenant with Combi Weapon as a pretty standard Space Marine choice and a pretty good Deathwatch choice. When we're attacking enemies on one of the objective markers as chosen by this Lieutenant, we get to reroll wound rolls of 1. So I'm probably not going to ever use the Codex Discipline stratagem. And as an infiltrating unit, he's very useful for keeping enemy infiltrators away from one side of the board. Another assisting unit is the Storm Speeder Thunderstrike. We have a lot of attacks in this army to take out lots of enemy infantry, including heavier infantry, but we're going to struggle a bit more against enemy tanks and monsters, so if the Storm Speeder Thunderstrike can give us +1 to wound, especially on our Indomitor Kill team, we're in a better position to take them out. And 5 Deathwatch Terminators provides a unit that can deep strike, and also immense fire support. 5 Storm Bolters, 3 Cyclone Missile Launchers. And as that has 2 weapon profiles you can choose from, we can either shoot a horde of little things, or we can shoot bigger targets. This army list can move fast and has enough utility pieces to be able to complete actions, especially with our Battleline units that can fall back and do actions or advance and do an action. This comes to 1,985 points, an inconvenient number of points. If you could take a 4th enhancement, but you're capped at 3, then I would take a Bombast Omnivox and stick it on the Combi Weapon Lieutenant, just because nothing shouts stealth at the enemy like a massive Voxcaster. Maybe I would use a stratagem on them at some point. Maybe grenades. I always recommend using grenades. The Deathwatch meta has been very static for the past 12 months. Occasionally Gladius Task Force comes through, most of the time people play Black Spear Task Force. I wonder if this Bastion Task Force can shake up the competitive options a bit, and we'll see a greater variety of army lists. What do you think? Not just of the army list, but of the idea. In internet vernacular, chat, am I cooking? I think I said that right. I would love some opinions on how the Bastion Task Force compares to the Gladius Task Force or the Black Spear Task Force. Playtesting will tell. There are many more Deathwatch videos on my channel, like exploring, after playtesting, how best to equip the Decimus Kill team and how they perform in battle. Until I see you again, my darlings and viewers, have a great day of 40k.